Hello and good morning. Today I'm waking up thinking about commitment. Often when we hear about commitment, it's in relation to relationships. It's about getting two people to say, yes, I want to do this thing between us. This is the thing I'm willing to invest in, even at the expense of other things. And then the other person comes and says, yes, I too would like to invest in this, even at the expense of other things. And I think opportunity cost is a big part of what keeps us um, gun shy about committing to things. For me right now, it's about a pursuit in my life. What I've been working to develop for several years now is the knowledge and the materials with which I can run workshops and help coach people in the practices of mental fitness, which have been total game changers for me. And I'm very excited about it. Everything about this feels aligned, and still I feel reluctant to fully commit to this because of what it means I have to give up. And so this is a big part of what has me thinking about what commitment is at its core and how opportunity cost really factors into the way we feel and relate to these commitments that we do or don't make based on our evaluation of what's really at stake, and then, moreover, our emotional state around that. So, as I look into it, I realize, pardon me, commitment is just really a solid yes. Yes, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to worry about what else I could be doing because here's the thing, none of that's real. And when we commit, we're not losing out on all of that. We're selecting from that which is of the greatest value, the greatest use, the greatest benefit, joy, fulfillment, whatever. It's the superlative of that at that moment that, to the best of our knowledge, can grow with us as we go forward. And we are, instead of living in a cloud of possibility, in this hazy dream with nothing solid to grab onto, we are actually realizing that select part of it and literally making real something of all of that potential such that we have something of substance that we can gain traction on. And in almost all cases, commitment leads to fruitful outcomes. If nothing else, it's at the root of discipline. Discipline isn't about checking off a list daily exactly. Real discipline arises from commitment, where we say, I feel that this is of the greatest value to me. I feel the most passion toward it. I can rationally tell you why this is of good benefit, right? These things you can go through all the metrics and really feel that it's a sound choice. But ultimately, it's at that place in our heart where we surrender to something, where we say, okay, whatever else, you got to choose something, choose this. You have no choice. You have to choose. Go ahead and pick the thing that's going to be your thing. And it allows us to take on more and through that become more. It's not about loss. I think we've come to associate commitment with loss because, yeah, there is an opportunity cost. That is real. I can't choose to be a ballerina and an astronaut, right? Like things little kids think of being, right? Like I can't be both. I They both require a lot of the same things, but they won't translate. Now, here's one caveat. Um, it's still worth pursuing many roads because we don't know how those roads intersect and weave together. My very different interests have actually proven to be compatible in some odd way. So let's say we'll start with architecture. I wanted to be an architect when I was in middle school, and Then later on in my early 20s, I wanted to run a creative retreat, like an artist retreat, but to include other disciplines, researchers, thinkers, right? People who are not who are academic writers, right? Not necessarily artists, but also need that space and time to process. Um, and then I've since gone on to take an interest in mental fitness as I develop my understanding of the subject. And it occurs to me that there's no reason I couldn't bring the three of those together in designing the space where I could host a retreat, where there could be also or instead a focus on mental fitness. So it's not obvious how these things come together, but at the end of the day, having pursued many routes, I've now come to a place where I feel that starting with the work is the first thing. This is the thing where I feel I can have the greatest impact on the lives of people around me and my own life for what it matters. We need to account for ourselves in these equations. So yeah, in terms of what's best for me, I think doing this work allows me the most effect and also allows me to retain some of the things that I fear losing to commitment because I think we tend to go black and white on this and think like, oh, if I commit to this thing, I lose everything. You don't lose everything. Some things you got to give up. Some things are impinged upon by that commitment. Most things we get to keep, and then what we gain through the commitment is so much greater that if we can push through the bottleneck of discomfort and doubt, we could be out of the bottle. We could be out in the whole wide world. And I think a lot of us get stuck in that bottleneck thinking, well, if I this and I need more time, and what if I go out there and I don't like it? It's like being a kid going to kindergarten the first day, like, mommy, if I don't like it, do I have to go back? Like, oh, I have that feeling, like, but we all made it through the first day of kindergarten and beyond. And I think we can all make it beyond this elementary level of understanding and just come up a notch and be like, yeah, maybe there is more on the other side of this bottleneck that I've wedged myself into and I'm kind of holding stubbornly. I'm like, you can't make me go. But it's subconscious. This is not my intent. I'm working very hard to create this, and I feel so much resistance. And I've identified a number of sources for that resistance. It does make sense to me in a way. But this was another dimension that seems almost more fundamental. Like this is almost, forget the other points of resistance I have. Am I all in? Am I really committed to this? And I caught myself today. I said, oh, I can't say yes wholeheartedly. And yeah. Like, okay, so maybe my lack of progress isn't psychological with regards to like past difficulties, bad relational experiences, failures in the world at large. Maybe it's less to do with that, and it's less to do with practical issues than it is to do with the fact that if I'm not all in, I can't get everything from it. I can't through that bring everything I've got. And so it's always going to be it's always going to be diluted. It's always going to be a partial representation of what's possible and still not a true realization of that select point in the great cloud of all possibility. But I know I am getting tired of floating drifty and dreamy in this fog of, well, what if this and what how about you go find out? Pick something and go find out. It's an adventure. It's calling, go, right? And I don't know if this is enough of a pep talk to get me on my feet and really doing the thing, but I think this kind of insight, typically when I have this kind of insight, it starts a slow rumbling that turns into a tectonic shifting that may not even be perceivable, but it's being able to go through and look at where we are putting up roadblocks for ourselves and why and try to work from that perspective. When you come in at a thing and you can't get, you come at the parking place the wrong way, you back up and you realign. And I feel like we can do that mentally when we come to these places where our interests are at odds. And that's good. That's a sign that different parts of our being are looking out for different opportunities and risks. They're seeing a whole picture. And what we have to do is take those megapixels and put them into a coherent image and work from that image. And so this is me adding a few more pixels in here and trying to make sense of why it is I feel resistance around doing something. I simultaneously feel like somebody put an eye hook in my chest and some divine force is pulling me by it. I feel this, I want this, and yet there's something going on. And so I'm thinking about commitment. This is it. And commitment isn't about giving up, it's about allowing more in. It's about taking from all that is possible and creating that which is real. It's doing the work of that and getting the benefit from doing that work, the growth, the self-mastery, the advancement in our ability to apply the right skills at the right time. These things, this comes through doing the work. And out the other side, because we've created something real, we have something that we can get purchase on. And having that traction, we can get forward and really receive and output so much more in this life. And I think it's in that dynamic flow of reception and transmission that the richest parts of life can take place in the world at large. There is an inner dimension which may be far richer, but it's imbalanced without this other world of being, without being in the world with other people doing the daily thing. That inner life becomes so abstracted, it almost loses meaning and purpose. So, in the dimension of all things in the real world with other people, this is a path to riches. It really is true wealth. Wealth is not money. Wealth is time. Wealth is connection. Wealth is peace of mind. It's ease in what we do. It's being challenged just enough to keep the blood pumping and the system evolving. It's all of these things, and being able to choose this, to surrender to it, to say, I give everything that is possible to this which can be real. And through that, I become more, I have more to offer, and the world around me becomes a richer place with which I can interface more effectively and at greater depth with greater range. And I want more. I feel that I want more for myself and I want more for others. And I want that to be the quality of light that illuminates my days. Yeah. And at some point, you got to pick out a light bulb and screw it in. So here I am thinking about how many Liz's it takes to screw in a light bulb and what commitment really means and why I think that reframing it may help me to to let go and push through this particular channel I find myself in, this narrow, narrow channel that leads me out to the big open sea. And I'm hoping that this is of some value to you in your pursuit of broader expanses and greater richness and deeper experience and all that life has to offer. And I look forward to seeing you in the next round. All right. Thank you. Take care.